Hi, this is Vicki. I'm here today to share a Christmas card with you. This card is a great, quick and easy card to make, and the thing that I really love about it is that I was able to use scraps of designer paper that I already had in my craft room that otherwise would have gone to waste. The other thing that I really like about this card is that it comes together so quickly. It doesn't use a lot of specialized products and just basics, rectangular shapes. So all you really need are ribbon, your papers, a paper trimmer, and some different adhesives. So let me gather my supplies and I'll show you what you need in order to make this card. Oh, if you stay tuned at the very end of this video, I'll be talking a little bit more about making bows, and I'll show you how I tied this little bow that has a flat knot that's at the top of this card. I love this technique for tying bows, and it allows me to get a bow that doesn't add too much extra bulk to my cards. So if I intend on mailing them, it doesn't add a lot of additional expense to my cards. So stay tuned at the end of this video if you want to see more about that. To make today's card, you'll need the following items. You'll need a piece of cardstock for your card base that measures 4 1/4 by 11 inches long, and you'll want to score it at 5 1/2 inches so that when you fold it, it makes a standard size base card. You'll need a strip of white cardstock for stamping your sentiment. I have cut mine to 5/8 of an inch wide, and I'm going to trim it to length after I stamp my sentiment. But you can adjust the size of cardstock that you use to fit the sentiment stamp that you decide to use. You'll need 3 pieces of coordinating Christmas patterned paper. This piece measures 3 inches by 1 1/2 inches. This piece measures 2 1/2 inches by 1 1/2 inches. And this piece measures 2 inches by 1 1/2 inches. And then you'll need little strips to create your box tops that coordinate with the pattern paper that you've chosen. Each one of these strips is 3/8 of an inch wide. This one is 3 inches long, 2 1/2 inches long, and 2 inches long. In addition to that, you'll need some ribbon. I have 5 inches of a 3/8 inch wide stitch satin ribbon, but you can use whatever kind of ribbon coordinates with your papers. I just need it to be approximately 5 inches long. And then you'll need enough of the same ribbon to create a bow, to tie a bow. And I've already done that here. In addition to that, you'll need an ink and a sentiment stamp. I'm using a sentiment stamp from the Come to Bethlehem stamp set, which is an old retired Stampin' Up! Stamp set. And it just says Merry Christmas in a font that I really like. And I'm using Cherry Cobbler ink because it coordinates with the paper that I've chosen. Then you'll need adhesive and glue dots, a bone folder, and some scissors, and maybe some pop dots. And that's all you need to create this card. So let me get set up and I'll show you how we're going to make this card. Okay, to make this card, I'm going to begin by folding my base card in half along the score line. And I'm actually going to take a bone folder and burnish my crease so that I get a nice flat base card. Then I'm going to take my largest of my 3 pieces of designer paper, and that's going to be my bottom box. And I'm going to turn it over to the back side, and I'm going to apply tape all over the back side of that piece. Before I adhere it to my box, I want to take my piece of ribbon and I'm going to stick it to the back of my box so that I have a tail that sticks off, and so that it's roughly in the center. So now I'm going to take that rectangular piece and apply it, and I'm going to use my mat to help me get it on there straight. My mat has grid lines on it, and I'm going to go about 1/4 of an inch up from the bottom and approximately centered from side to side. And again, this doesn't have to be perfect, but if I get the bottom box straight, then the rest of the stack will be straight. And you see, so I can pull this up and have it go up the center of all of my gifts. So I'm just going to leave that there for now. I'm going to find the little lid piece that corresponds to the length of my box, which is my 3-inch piece, and I'm going to apply adhesive on the back side of that. Now I want to take that strip, and I want the top edge of my strip to line up with the top edge of my box, so that it looks like a little lid that has been applied to my box. And I'm just going to burnish it down. And now I'm going to take my next smaller box, which is my 2 1/2 inch piece, and I'm going to apply adhesive to the back side. And you'll notice that I used both sides of this piece. These patterns coordinate well, and I know that the colors go well together. So I'm just going to apply that so that I have about the same amount of space on both sides. Again, I'm going to find the lid piece, which is my 2.5 inch wide piece that goes with this box, and I'm going to put it on there so that the top edge of the strip lines up with the top edge of the box. And I'm going to do the same thing with the third box. Apply adhesive to the back side, center it up. Now you'll notice I have about 1/2 inch at the top here, which is exactly what I want. I want a little more space at the top than at the bottom because I am going to have a bow there. I find my little strip that goes with that, which is my 2 inch wide strip. I'll rub the edge to get off any little fuzzies there. And go ahead and line that up so that the top edge of that strip is roughly even with the top edge of my box. Now I have my stack ready to go. So I would like to apply adhesive to this piece of ribbon, and I actually find that I like score tape best. You can certainly use whatever adhesive is your preference, but I like score tape just because it's easy to work with and I can see exactly where it is. So I just apply a piece there. Now this piece is probably going to be too long and I'm going to require a little trimming. Let me grab my scissors here to get the liner off. There we go. So I'm not going to worry about that, but I just want to apply even tension as I pull it because I want my little stitching to be somewhat straight. And I'm just going to smooth it down and trim off any excess that's here at the top. And it doesn't even have to be a straight cut because it's going to be covered by the bow. Now I'm ready to actually stamp my sentiment. So I'm going to set my card aside and I'm going to bring back this little strip of white cardstock that is 5/8 of an inch wide, and that works well with the sentiment that I have chosen. So again, if you have a different width of sentiment, you'll want to choose a different width of cardstock. And I'm going to stamp not all the way to the end, but close to the left side of this paper. And like I said, I'm going to trim this to length now that I have finished finished stamping. So I'm going to get my paper snips and I'm going to cut that off so that I have about 1/2 inch beyond the sentiment. I'm going to cut in approximately 1/4 inch, and I'm just going to fishtail the ends. You can use whatever kind of shape on your ends of your sentiment strip that you'd like. And then I'm going to turn that over and I'm going to put a couple of pop dots on the back. Probably got that one too close to the edge. There we go. So I'm going to remove the liners from those. And I'm going to take this and I'm just going to put it, and I like to trim this little corner kind of at an angle just so it doesn't stick up beyond the top of my box. And go ahead and apply my sentiment strip there. And now I have my bow that I already created, and I'm going to apply that to my box. And I like to do this with glue dots. So since I can't find my paper piercer at the moment, I'm just going to use the edge of my scissors to lift up a glue dot, and I'm going to take it and apply it directly to the back of my bow. And I actually am going to use a couple. So there's a second one. There we go, and now I'm just ready to press that in place right at the top of my stack. And there I have a really, really cute card that was made with just a few paper scraps. Of course, I could add a liner to the inside of this card, and I could decorate that liner or stamp it with an additional sentiment. So I hope you enjoyed today's card. If you have any questions, like always, you can email me at craftingforfun@gmail.com or check out my blog, craftingforfun.blogspot.com. But before you go today, I did want to talk to you a little bit about tying bows. I do get some questions about tying bows, so I thought I'd show you how I did this bow. I took some ribbon, and this is not the same color of ribbon, but it is the same width and same thickness of material. And what I did was, without removing any from the roll, I made a loop, a bunny ear. So there you see, and I have about 2 inches on my loop. And then I make another one that is approximately the same size. and I hold them side by side. So I have two bunny ears held side by side, and each has a piece of ribbon that's hanging off of it. Now I've made this particularly large so that I can show you exactly what I do. But I cross those little bunny ears over each other, and I'll show you how that looks. Just like that. I've crossed them over, but they're in no way attached, so I've just X'd them over each other. And now I'm going to take the one that is starting on my left hand side, and I'm going to go under and up through the hole in the middle, and I'm going to give that a little pull. Now you can always make these little tails, you can pull on them to make them shorter if you need to, and when you flip it over you'll see that you have two tails and it's still kind of loose in the center, so this is where you can adjust the size of your loops. So pull on your tails to make your loops smaller, pull on your bows. If it's still not the right size, pull on your tails until you get your loops the size you want. Pull tight, and when you have it the exact size that you want, and you can do this as many times as you need to get your bow the size you want, then you would simply cut off the excess, and see it is still attached to the roll. So I'm not as wasteful with ribbon as I would if I was simply trying to cut a piece to guesstimate how long of a length I need. And so that's how I tie a bow. It gives me a nice flat knot that will not add too much bulk to my card. So if you intend on mailing your cards, this is a nice way to tie a bow that doesn't add a lot of extra thickness to your cards. So again, I hope you enjoyed today's card, and I hope to see you back here again soon.